What up, though? It's the Creator back at you with another reaction video. This one is from Flagrant. Flagrant channel has Andrew Schultz and his little group of cats, and this is off his new episode. And I'm just going to do a couple excerpts talking about the perception of Democrats, and Democrats are weird. So it's going to be probably about maybe get 18 minutes of dialogue about why they failed in this election, and let's just hear it. Let's just hear it, bro.
RFK is on. Shout out to RFK. He's a real one, bro. This motherfucker is like he's like Mariah the Scientist to Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like he's riding for Donald Trump. So he's on Tucker Carlson's pod, and I don't know if somehow it brings up geopolitics, right? And Tucker's like, yeah, so what do you think about Donald Trump? And then RFK goes, I remember I was on a plane with him, and he was telling me about the Middle East, and he brought out a napkin, and he drew a map of the Middle East and told me the number of troops we had in each one of these locations in the Middle East. And Tucker goes, wait, are you telling me that Donald Trump drew a map of the Middle East from memory? He goes, yep, from memory. And Tucker just goes, that's his face. But you need that kind of ride or die wrestling in order to push the agenda. So do we help the Dems?
So that's what we call it out, ride or die wrestling? Or
you need
ultimate dick sucking.
Yeah, you need someone to completely lie. Oh, here it is. Go
like,
watch
that's crazy.
Make sure I got this right. Trump on the plane the other day drew a map of
the Mideast. He drew a map of the Mideast.
An accurate map.
Yeah, an accurate map of the Mideast.
With troop strength.
Yes, with troop strength in each of the nations. So, I saw that.
Even Tucker, who is the mouthpiece for the editor could have kept that shit out, but he's like, nah, this is too crazy. RFK out here trying to unvaccinate us, saying shit like that.
That is
oh my
crazy.
God.
Anyway, okay, so
the wrestling for Democrats.
Okay, what is most important? Because I think the goal for most sane Americans is we have two options for president every single election, and they're both awesome.
Yeah.
And it's really tricky which one we have to go for.
Yeah.
And
that's where I think we're wrong at. That sounds like a simplified America. It's just to be two options. Now I get it. These two strong parties, Democrat, Republican, and there should be valuable politicians or figures to represent these two parties. But you got the Green, you got Independent, you got other parties that represent other things, you know what I'm saying? But that just shows you the simplicity of how we wanted to draw back into, it's only two choices. But go ahead.
That's how you know that we're in a pretty good situation.
Right.
I think
that's the ideal. That's the dream.
We're not so tribal that we're just like, oh, fuck Democrats or oh, fuck Republicans. We would like two people who are really speaking to the things that are bothering us, and they're going to go satisfy those things. Fair enough?
Yeah.
How do we do that? Obviously, the election showed that Democrats are a little bit off from what the majority of people want.
Yeah.
Now, their policies might actually satisfy what those people want. They might have good policies for working class people. They might have good policies for labor. They might have good policies for the border. I don't even fucking know what their border thing is. I thought that their messaging was horrible. But their messaging has, one, been horrible, and two, the perception of them is atrocious. This is where we get into the wrestling.
Yeah.
So let's just have a very honest discussion. What is the perception of the Democratic Party right now?
Identity politics. Leftists have taken over. They don't care about any working everyday American. They only care about these kind of fringe groups. That's the perception.
Would you guys say that that's part of it?
That's actually a good way of looking at it. It just seems like most Democrats, when they tried to target, presidential Democratic candidates, when they try to target their main audience, they try to tend to most of the blacks. That's why, we think about President Bill Clinton or Barack, sometimes Bernie Sanders. They appealed to the black population, or they tried to, which especially Barack, but those most of them they appealed to mostly us and tried to address our needs, the lower class, middle class, minimum wage, things like that, affirmative action policies, equal opportunity ideas, things of that nature. So it's been more targeted for us. We've been the minority, but now since the years have gone by, it's no longer the blacks are the minority. You got other races and ethnicities, and then on top of that, you've got genders and hybrid genders identifying as minorities, and they want equal rights for them. So it's no longer black people that the Democrats are targeting. They're targeting all the other special interest groups that feel like they need to be equal. Women, gays, everything that's not male or woman. You know what I'm saying? Especially black. So that's where the Democrats fucked up at.
Yeah, that's definitely part of it. I also think they're not addressing the things people care about the most, and not trying to separate that just threw me the fuck off.
Yeah, like what's that thing right there? What's that thing
I don't
that's
keep
on the
talking
screen?
with that. But
Why is she needing a scarf? Look at that neck. That's warm.
I think they were great as the bad guy in Monsters Inc. I thought they were awesome.
Okay,
yeah, but just
Secretary of Health. That's the Secretary of Health.
wow.
Yeah.
yeah, the problem they didn't separate. Well, Kamala didn't separate herself from Biden's 4 years, and I think with now a break, they'll have a fresh start over next time.
Just what's the perception?
Yeah, let's just go off of perception.
Not
what they are,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
not what the policies are, because unfortunately in politics and in life, like for example, and I said this when we were having the meeting the other day, like there are people who know nothing about us. They see Donald Trump on our pod and they're like, oh, they're a right-wing podcast, right? I have to live with that perception. You guys have to live with that perception from people who don't really know what we're about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So, and that is the cost. And then we can decide to address that, or we can decide to just keep on making content. It's up to us.
Yeah.
What I think is there is a disconnect between what the Democrats think they are and how the American public perceives them.
Yeah. And perception is so strong, to use his personal. There's people who know me who are like, oh, you're a right wing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know me pretty well. I would think you know me better than that, but perception is so powerful. It doesn't matter how much I know about you personally, even then. So Democrats' perception, huh?
Yeah, you MAGA.
No, I'm more extreme than MAGA.
Your perception is reality. It's not perception is reality. It's your perception is reality. You know what I'm saying? Put that "your" in between it, because what you think, whether you, I don't know who says this, but it's been repeated and paraphrased numerous times. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. So that means your perception is how you're going to look at shit. So whatever you think it is, that's how you move upon life. And that's how a lot of people move upon life anyway. So you alter your perception, your reality changes. There you go.
Yes. Yeah, I think America was its greatest hundreds of years ago. No, but the perception, so that's our point, is people like Jon Stewart had a great piece about what the liberals actually are, and everybody thinks the Democrats are identity politics, blah, blah, blah. But you hit it perfectly. The perception is not what, even if reality is this, the perception is it's leftist, it's libs of TikTok people, it's
this
whatever.
is the perception of Democrats from the average, I think, American. Pretentious weirdos.
Yes.
Weird. They're everything
All
weird.
politics weird.
Anything weird you can imagine is them.
And if I don't love your weirdness, I'm a Nazi.
Exactly. So like just to assess the weird thing, Republicans used to be the weirdos. The perception of Republicans was like, oh, these like country hillbillies, you having snakes bite them in church and all this weird
Jesus freaks and puritanical.
I'm just curious because like Walsh hit them with that weird shit early, and that shit it made a little wave.
So this is the thing. I think there was like a little wave here, but then the second you saw Vance talk for a long period of time, you're like, oh shit, he's not really weird, right? So they try to push a narrative because the media is very powerful. Like we said, left-wing media is so powerful, it convinced us this election was close. Up to the day of, we were like, fuck, I don't know who's gonna win. So left-wing media is very powerful. They try to push the weird thing, but when you see him talk for 2 hours, you're like, oh, he's not weird. What's weird is Tim Walz saying he was in Tiananmen Square.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then going, I'm a goofy guy. It's like, oh, you should be second in charge of America when you call yourself a goofy guy.
Yeah.
I don't want the guy who says that he's goofy second in charge, right? You go, I'm a serious guy who's about serious shit. Stand on that lie. Be like, I was there. Like if I'm Tim Wolf, stand on that lie. So say I was in Tiananmen Square. Say I wasn't.
Yo, Trump America is crazy.
Son, you gotta say,
bro.
say I wasn't.
Stand on
say
the
I
line.
wasn't. Find one bitch could say I wasn't. Do you know what I mean? That's what you gotta do. Say Donald Trump
right there.
I'd claim that
That's
picture.
Tim
Like,
Wolf.
that's me.
Me in the second tank. If the first go get her, I got her. Say I wasn't. You gotta stand on the lie. Tim Walz tried to Forrest Gump his way into the vice presidency.
What is happening?
He said he won gold medal in the ping pong Olympics. So the idea that they're these like, it's just the party of like weird shit, right? Anything weird is them. If you're a little weird or off, you're them. Now here's the problem. When you're weird, it's okay to be weird, and we actually accept you being weird if you acknowledge you're being weird, right? If I'm walking around with a dick on my head, right? And you come up and you're like, yo, why you got a dick on your head? And I go, what, you don't believe in expression? What are you, a fucking Nazi or something like that? The fuck is wrong with you? You guys are like, all right, I don't want anything to do with this fucking weirdo, right? If I go, I lost a fucking fantasy football thing and this is the punishment, then you guys start going, oh, okay, this is a fucking guy. He's in a fantasy football league. He's a normal dude. The problem with the Democrat perception right now is they will be weird as fuck, and if you question it, you're a Nazi. Why are you allowed to win a gold medal for beating the shit out of women as a man in the Olympics? What are you, fucking an animal that thinks that a woman can't have a dick and balls? Like they'll say that out of their mouths on CNN. They're like, why can't women have a dick and balls and beat the shit out of other women who don't have a dick and balls?
Does she still have her gold medal? Does she keep it?
They got to take that shit back. That is crazy. It's he. Now we know.
Well, yeah, well, what is it? What does he identify as?
Oh, that's right. Whatever. Yeah. Again. So perfect example, right? So it's just the party of, it's like the drag queen comes in to like read books to the kids. And the dad who works like in construction goes, wait, what happened today? Yeah, a guy dressed in makeup came in and read books to us. And he goes, what's up with the drag queen reading the books to the kids? And then the school goes, oh, I'm sorry, you trying to raise a bigot that's not accepting of the drag queen? Like, what the fuck is a drag queen reading to the kids for? You have to go, oh no, it's actually not a drag queen. We had different versions of clowns coming in, and one clown dressed as a monkey. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's more of a clown thing, and we thought the clowns are kind of funny. And then the dad goes, oh, I like clowns. Okay, that's fine. You can't immediately slap the person in the face for asking a question why you're being weird. And I think that's what a lot of people are voting against, which is...
That's one thing about niggas. You don't give niggas a solid answer. When we give you a solid question, you run around the bush, you beat around the bush and run around corners, trying to be logistic but not be completely straightforward with your answer. That's when we start looking at you funny. So yeah, come on now. If you're gonna be weird, be clear on why you weird. Don't be weird and not beat around the bush for it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be weird and act like you ain't being weird. Straight up. Because that's when we know you being weird. So, it's getting clearer and clearer, man.
We got to stop pretending we're not being weird over here.
What?
And I think it's going to take Democrats acknowledging the...
White people ain't never going to... Well, I ain't going to say... When I say white people, I mean these 1% ass motherfuckers that's in power for the most part. Because this is why motherfuckers really like Trump. The niggas back in the day before he was running for president, they loved Trump because he was rich and he didn't give a fuck and he fucked with who fucked with him. As his run as a president, it like, you know, because he's a Republican, it was like, oh, why is he, you know, this, that, and the third. And that vision got altered. But now, after certain things happened during his tenure, before he got knocked off and then Biden ran in, niggas started seeing another way. And for the one reason or another, they seeing it as if it's the same thing. It's back to Trump before he was president. This is the coolest nigga in the world. He rich and he helping niggas out. So while they stay the same, some things change and still stay the same. As white people always gonna remain weird. Some people gonna remain the same in their roots, and white people always gonna remain weird in their fucking actions, especially these ones that's trying to fuck shit over. They ain't gonna explain nothing. They're just gonna cover it up and give you some dressing to make it seem like everything's okay. And we about tired of that shit as a people overall, but especially niggas.
At least acknowledging, hey, we're the party of like acceptance. But sometimes we're accepting things that are a little out there for people, so let's do a little explaining.
Also, Donald Trump put that on the part. Dude, I sent this ad to the group when I first saw it as the Donald Trump is for you, Kamala is for they, them.
Bars.
What a fucking ad. And it's got Charlemagne, who's openly a Kamala supporter, being like, saying Kamala wants to support surgery for prisoners, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. I'm
Also,
not into that. Then
pronouns-
Kamala saying, yeah, I want to do that.
Saying your pronouns before I ask you is like weird.
Has that ever happened?
It's just weird. You're just being weird. Stop
I agree.
It.
I agree. That
would
would be
you
weird.
admit you didn't like that haircut that you had?
That
was a version of the dick on the head.
But to anybody that said, yo, your haircut's stupid, I go, yeah, I know it's stupid.
No. You said you liked it at first.
Alex.
You said you liked
But
it.
me liking it doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge how absurd it is.
So I see what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
Imagine
I've never
if he
heard you
goes-
acknowledging it.
Imagine if he
Bro,
goes,
I'd be
what,
on
you don't like
stage.
this haircut? What the fuck is wrong with you dickhead? What, you don't like this hair? What's your problem?
Stop.
No, he would say it's a shit, and he would pretend he was going to start a trend, and then anytime someone does it, he still takes credit for it.
Yeah,
even though he
I know.
gave up on
That's
it.
what
So
But
there's-
that's different than you're fucked.
I
Or
understand.
not liking
I
it.
understand the point you're making, but like for me, when I was on stage, I would make jokes about
He
how I
had
look like.
a joke
I said I look
about
like
that. He
Kim
did.
Jong January 6th, right? Like I was just, I would just make absurd
Oh,
jokes
I
about
know.
myself
That's
and how like
hilarious.
stupid I looked with it.
Yeah.
So like I was aware of how ridiculous it was.
Okay.
And there's a part of me that like likes trolling people.
Yeah.
But then when I saw other people starting to do it, I was like, oh, you better keep that same energy when Ronaldo does it. If you make fun of me with it, and then when Ronaldo does it, now it's cool, or Kid Super did it, now it's cool, then I'm going to be like, yo, keep the same energy. But
So to your point, that is, you acknowledge that
I did the
it's
weird, dumb
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
Maybe I like weird, dumb shit. And maybe people like being weird and dumb. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I can at least acknowledge anybody that was like,
If Dick on the Head guy from his earlier hypothetical just goes, I'm weird.
Yeah, you know what's
You'd
so
be
funny?
like, all right, there you go. Thank you.
You know, it's so funny. I didn't even need to do dick on the head. I could have done my haircut. That example works
Yeah.
perfectly
Yeah.
with the hair.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm gonna stop there, man. I'm gonna watch the rest of this episode, like for myself, just to just delve in and think a little bit more and stuff. Just to be when I probably do another episode, an intelligent talk show, we can talk a little bit more about stuff like that. That's what I mean. We gotta break the ice on certain issues that's really fucking with us. And this is one of those things, man. This is about being real. And this is when keeping it fake goes wrong, man. Motherfuckers that kept it fake for too goddamn long. We see the bullshit. When we see the bullshit, we gonna call it out. And yeah, a black woman trying to represent, but not for the right culture. You know what I'm saying? And trying to add our culture into it, we see through that. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. But that's all the time I got on that subject. I'm out this bitch like newborn puppy. Subscribe to Flagrant, like, comment, share, subscribe to this channel. Until then, I'll see y'all later on. Peace.